piece called A Jazz Waltz Concerto in F. It's a piano concerto. And this is how it got started. It got started as a ballet many years ago. A friend of mine, Ron Headrick, was a choreographer. And he loved to listen to and dance to what's called a jazz waltz. Now, a jazz waltz is not like a Strauss waltz or European dance. It's a real American dance, and it has a jazz feel. It's very up, it's very peppy. You know, it's that kind of thing. It's in 3/4 time, and he asked me to write him a ballet that would last about 15 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes. And I said, Ron, I can do that, but it's going to get a little boring, just the same kind of beat all the time. So what to do? He said, well, I need 20 minutes. I need 15 to 20 minutes. Well, so I started to think about it, and I figured this 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. I figured, what if I add a couple of numbers to it? 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2. All of a sudden, there was a new beat. And that shows that the mathematics and music have quite a bit in common. And they can work together very nicely. So when I figured I could do 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, then I figured, well, if I can do 5, I can add 2, I can add 4. All of a sudden, it created a whole new beat. Well, the next thing, I put 2 3s together, and it became, and a 2, it became an 8. And here I had my ballet. All I had to do is put a little slow part to it, give it a fancy name, Adagio. And I had a ballet of 15 to 20 minutes, and it was a big success. Ron Headrick staged it beautifully. I never thought the dancers could count that. Sort of thing. But they didn't even bother, they just danced it. And so it was a very big success in the 90s in Miami, and that was the end of it. And so I said to myself, well, if I can use this as a ballet, I can use it for a piano concerto. So I wrote myself a piano concerto. I called it the Jazz Waltz Concerto in F. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen, your kind permission. Like to sit at the piano, play my piano. and that is, when I first wrote the ballet, I discovered something about it. It started to sound almost a little bit like Gershwin. It sounded Gershwin. So we called the ballet 3 by 5 by 7 by George. That was the title of the ballet, and it was a big success at that time, and now it's a piano concerto. Now, we're going back to Broadway again, and this time I was here in Florida somewhere in the 90s, and a lady came to me, Mimi Scott. She's a writer and a lyricist, and she commissioned me. Actually, I made money on this one. She commissioned me to write music to her musical called Sophie, Totie, and Belle. Can you guess who these people are? Sophie Tucker, Totie, Totie Fields, and Belle? Belle Barth. Not everybody knows Belle Barth, but she had a club here down in Miami. And it was a very, very famous club. And, well, you know, they were Grande Dames of show business in those days. And Mimi Scott wanted to write a musical about them called the Sophie, Totie, and Belle. And the show, I wrote her shows for the music for the entire show. And we actually went into rehearsal with the full cast at the Marco Polo Hotel in Miami Beach. In the downstairs showroom. Those of you who know in show business know that there was such a thing, a downstairs showroom. We had a full cast and we were ready. And it was about 2 days before the opening. What do you think happened? The room flooded. And that put an end to this particular show also. And again, it went somewhere in the dustbin. They couldn't find another venue. The cast disappeared. They had other things to do, and so on and so forth. So it never finito. It was the end of it. But not for me. I put together a medley of 3 songs from that show, and we'd like to play it for you. I'd like to bring back my singers. Again, there are 3 numbers here. There is an opener, which they were singing, all 3 ladies were singing, and something like that. We were no angels, no wings will fly us. Because their reputation for off color, most particularly Belle Barth. And then the second song in that little medley is a very tender song sung by Totie's husband, Georgie. Some of you maybe in show business may know, I actually worked with Totie Fields on Miami Beach in some of the hotels, and I remember he was a very devoted husband. You couldn't get a better husband than Georgie. And there's a tender little song in there which Marcel will perform, and then a closer, and that was the closer of the show too. They were the toast of the town. So, ladies and gentlemen, where are Marcel? Oh well, it takes Marcel that long to put on all those different jackets. Oh my God! All right, this opening number, "We Were No Angels, No Wings Will Fly," of course, was supposed to be sung by the three dames, Sophie, Totie, and Belle. We only have 2 lovely ladies here, but they're doing a very good job on it, so you won't miss any third. Here we go. This is Bill's mic.
Yours.
My mic.
Yeah? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
All right.
It's the you that's deep inside. It's why I made you my bride. That's what's beautiful and great about my sweet and funny maid. I know how you cry. I know how you try. I know how you hide the pain deep inside. You're the bravest of them all, and your jokes have made you tall. So go out and weave your spell. Show them you're still full of hell. But for me, it's you right here, where you're nothing but sincere. That's what's beautiful and great about my sweet and funny maid.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. They were the toast of the town, indeed. They were. Now, it's a big day for me. Today is my mother's birthday. Would you believe it? My mother's birthday, she's one of the two important women in my life. And I loved her very much. I miss her very much. The other one, of course, is my wife of 62 years, Veronica, and I love her also. Here's some face in the audience. And so I recently found a song I had written 60 years ago, wherever time, for somebody's act. Veronica's brothers, John, who was with the Christie Minstrel, and he wanted to sort of broaden out and start his own act, and he asked me to write him a nice tender song. And I wrote it, and I totally forgot about it 60 years ago. About a month ago, he sent it back to me, and he said, "This is your song, I want you to have it." Do you remember? And I didn't remember. I really didn't remember. But then I looked at it again and again, and I thought it might be just appropriate for tonight. So here it is. I'd like to sing it at the piano. Okay, I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let it rest right here, and I bend right over. In my own quiet way, as we go from year to year, I shall love you as grain the sun. I shall warm you with dreams through the winter chill, and fulfill them in spring, one by one. In my own quiet way, though it may not always show, I shall need you as grass the rain. When our harvest of years sees its ending, and our last autumn leaves start descending, you will know I have shown that I love you in my own quiet way. In my own quiet way, though it may not always show, I shall need you as grass the rain. When our harvest of years sees its ending, and our last autumn leaves start descending, you will know I have shown that I love you in my own quiet way. Now, oh yes, I have a bit of a duty of thanks for this evening. I have a whole bunch of people to thank for it. First of all, I want to thank our sponsors. You can read their names on the program, and thank you very, very much. There's one main reason why we were able to do this in the first place, was a generous grant from an organization called CIA, Citizens Interested in the Arts. Thank you very much. If there's any representatives over there, thank you very much. Then I want to thank you, the audience, for being here, attending this concert. There are many people here from where our place, where Veronica and I live. We've been very happy there for many years at the V in Aventura. I know there's a whole bunch of you there. Make a little noise. Right, okay. Then, of course, at the Hollywood Cultural Club, Shai Lynn brought a whole bunch of people here. And then from the premier residence in Pompano, Sandy Warren, and there were many, many more. I thank you all. We cannot do this without an audience. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. Then, I want to thank the theater and their staff. I want to thank Gio, particularly our sound man, who did a wonderful job. Thank you so much, Gio. It was a pleasure working with you. And Chad, of course, who runs this place, and all the other people on their staff. Thank you very much. Then I want to thank our board of directors of the Broward Pops. This orchestra, ladies and gentlemen, is called the Broward Pops. We rose like phoenix from the ashes after the COVID. We used to be the Hallandale Symphonic Pops Orchestra, but that ended with the COVID. And here we are, we're trying again. So you see all these wonderful people. I want you to give a very hearty applause to this wonderful behind me. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. We have a board of directors, and I want to introduce to you these different people. If you could stand up just so they see you. Our president, Richard Yaklich. Beverly Daw, who's our secretary. Sue Ellen Pompa, where are you, Sue Ellen Pompa? Helen Hauser, over there. Link Lackey, at the base. And the big bass player there, David Winnick. And once more, give me a wonderful applause for this. Thank you very much. And that, but for one number concludes the evening, and we want to thank you once more, and we want to end with a number. I had the good fortune, ladies and gentlemen, today also, I want to announce, is also a big day. It's Holocaust Remembrance Day. I don't know if many of you know this, but it is. I am a Holocaust survivor. My parents and I survived the Holocaust, and I came here as a young boy of 17 years old after it was all over. And I sailed into New York Harbor, past the Statue of Liberty, with a couple of thousand people on the ship, on board ships, standing out there looking at the Statue of Liberty. There wasn't a dry eye on the ship. A new life started for me, a life of freedom in this wonderful country, and I've been privileged to have this reflected in my professional work. I was selected, I had the honor to be selected by the city of Miami Beach, in 1976. You know, it's a funny thing. That reminds me of a joke. There was an old fellow. He was going to be an American citizen. He went in front of the judge. And he was very nervous. And the judge asked him, "When did you come over?" And he got so nervous. He said, well, he wanted to say 1940. He said 1490. So the judge said, "You should have waited 2 years. You could have come with Columbus." Which reminds me, in 1976, I had the honor of being selected by the city of Miami and city of Miami Beach to be musical director and arranger of their musical extravaganza to celebrate the 200th anniversary of this wonderful country. And it was a show, most probably the biggest show that was ever held in Miami. It had a cast of 600 people in it. It was performed at the convention center, and the name of the show was Ray USA.
Oh, wow.
And it traced the history of this country through its music and through its songs. I had to write a little bit of music because the Indians didn't have any music, published music at least. So I had to write some Indian music and something for the conquistadores and so on and so. In any case, it was a very big success. It started on July the 4th, 1976, and it ended on the 31st of the month, and there was not a seat available to be had at the convention center, and you know that's a big place. The show was performed on a stage as big as a football field almost. Well, from that experience, I put together a little condensation. I called it my patriotic medley. And we'd like to close with it. We'd like to, we'd like you to remember that as difficult as things are at the moment, you live in the best country in the world. And we should be all very proud. So if you want to sing along every once in a while, please, but don't interfere with the dialogue. Okay, now it's my pleasure to bring out our wonderful singers. Again, let me tell you, where are they? Here they are. Bill and Alicia, Marcel, and Marcela. And here is our patriotic medley.
That all men are created equal, and that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among them are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Every
And so they came from their homes and their farms with muskets, pitchforks, and sticks, fighting for their freedom. Father and I went down to camp along with Captain Goodwin. There we saw the men and boys as hard as 60 foot. Yankee Doodle, keep it up, oh Yankee Doodle dandy. Mind the music and the step, and will the girls be happy? Yankee Doodle, take it up, and Yankee Doodle take it, till the music comes back to me. So a new country was created, a nation of ordinary people who wanted to live their lives in freedom.
What is America to me? A name, a place, a flag I see, a certain word, democracy. What is America to me?
The house I live in, a plot of earth street, the grocer and the butcher, and the people that I meet.
The children in the playground, the faces that I see, all the races and religions, that's America to me. But especially the people, that's America to me.
Yes, that's America to all of us. And whenever necessary, there were always brave young men and women ready to defend their homes and our way of life. We're trying to marching home again, hurrah, hurrah. We'll give them a hearty welcome and then hurrah, hurrah. For the men will cheer, the boys will shout, the ladies sing, the loves will laugh, and all feel baby. Johnny comes marching home. I'm a Yankee Doodle dandy, a Yankee Doodle do or die.
Yankee Doodle came to London just to ride a pony. I am a Yankee Doodle boy.
Over there, send the word over there. That the Yanks are coming, the Yanks are coming,
The drums run thumping everywhere.
off we go into the wild blue yonder, climbing high into the sky. And there's a way, my boys, and there's a way. Over hill, as we hit the dusty trail, and the caissons go rolling along. From the halls of Montezuma to the shore of
You're a grand old flag, you're a high-flying flag, and forever in peace may you wave. You're the emblem of the land I love, the home of the free and the brave. Every heart beats true to the red, white, and blue, with its feather of all-star
It took a civil war to test our commitment to the principles this flag represents, and it took a great president to lead us. Fourscore and 7 years ago, our fathers brought forth a new nation, conceived in liberty and dedicated to the proposition that all men are created